In my last video, I discussed the latest fiasco surrounding Blizzard, this time concerning the scaling down of Heroes of the Storm. In a press release published on December 13th, 2018, Blizzard announced that they would be moving developers away from the game and onto other projects in the pipeline, which presumably comprise of major titles like the upcoming Diablo 4, as well as smaller projects like the numerous mobile games in the works. They did emphasize that the game will still be supported with new heroes, themed events, updates, and other content, but also noted that the cadence will change, meaning that they'll be released at a much slower pace. Part of their explanation for this latest move was that they were setting Heroes of the Storm for long-term sustainability, but I discussed in my last video how this is less Blizzard speaking and more Activision, especially in light of recent reports that the publisher is pressuring Blizzard to prioritize cutting costs and shipping games at a faster rate, especially in light of financial stagnation throughout 2018 for the publisher that's resulted in stocks to drop drastically throughout the past few months. Now, something else that I briefly touched upon was that Blizzard would also be putting an end to major esports events for Heroes of the Storm, announcing that Heroes Global Championship and Heroes of the Dorm would not return in 2019. Being someone who doesn't follow esports all that much, I didn't know just how much of a drastic effect this was all having, but a bit of quick research revealed that the cancellation of esports events has had a devastating effect on the lives of many up-and-coming and veteran professional players. I'd like to begin by highlighting a comment from my previous video which summarized the situation. It reads, quote, "You kind of skimmed over how devastating the announcement was for cutting the esports scene. There was an event at BlizzCon for Heroes of the Storm called the Crucible. It was set up to build new teams for Heroes Global Championship. Not even a month later, with zero warning, they got told, along with all the current esports teams, that they weren't going to have a job. They basically just shit-canned almost 200 people right before Christmas. I was watching a stream where a guy had to cancel his plans to go see his girlfriend for the holidays, and when he told his mom the news that he was out of the job and would be alone for the holiday, she broke down in tears." Oof. Another comment expressed similar sentiments, stating the following, "Young, yeah, I think it's super important to report, at least note, that the esports community, including casters, staff, pro players, ones who were looking forward all of last year to make it in the pro scene this year, are all left out of jobs and contracts right before the holidays. It's beyond scummy considering the community was promised and left in the dark for weeks after BlizzCon just to have this happen 12 days before Christmas." So yeah, the main issue here lies in Blizzard's terrible timing with this announcement, as well as their complete lack of communication with people who would be adversely affected by the company's latest decisions. Had up-and-coming and veteran professional Heroes of the Storm players been given a heads up a good amount of time in advance that esports events for the game they were training so hard to get good at were being cancelled, it would have at least given them the opportunity to reprioritize. But instead, they were kept completely in the dark right up until the press release that Blizzard posted on December 13th. These guys, whose jobs is to play Heroes of the Storm professionally, literally found out that they were out of jobs the same day as the general public did, resulting in time wasted, in financial prospects ruined, and future plans uncertain for many of these hardworking people. Just to give you an idea for how Blizzard's lack of consideration has proven to be devastating for esports players, here's a tweet posted by Liam O'Malley, which reads, quote, "For the past 3 years, I've committed 8 to 10 hours a day into Heroes of the Storm to improve to make it into the Heroes Global Championship one day. I even dropped out of college to pursue my dream. Finally, I did it and was going to be playing for Endemic Sports as offlane in 2019. Now I'm told it's cancelled. I am so sad." Now, the good news is that Endemic has actually responded to recent developments and are being proactive about supporting players who have been affected by these unfortunate circumstances. One of their latest tweets reads, quote, "Note, Endemic will not leave our Heroes Global Championship players high and dry. We are incredibly committed to supporting our players and will work tirelessly to ensure that the negative impact this decision has on their lives is as minimal as possible. Simply put, we take care of our own." It's definitely good to hear of the mutual support and camaraderie that's taking place behind the scenes within esports amidst these times, but it doesn't change the fact that Blizzard's negligence and lack of responsibility is nothing short of egregious. this. Had Blizzard given esports players a heads up about all this to give them enough time to transition, or had Blizzard decided to host at least one more year of esports tournaments and events before calling it quits, we wouldn't be having this discussion. It's especially baffling that Blizzard would host a tournament like Crucible to bring new teams and hopefuls in for their big Heroes Global Championship before abruptly snuffing their dreams. I'd like to proceed by highlighting a few more reactions from the Heroes of the Storm esports community, many of which were compiled by an article Kotaku published on the matter. Here's an official statement published by Team Method, which reads as follows. Like so many of you in the community, we were shocked and saddened at the announcement by Blizzard Entertainment that Heroes Global Championship and Heroes of the Dorm were being cancelled in 2019, and even more, the development team was being scaled down to what can only be assumed to be just enough to keep the game running. Method was immensely proud to hold a spot in the Heroes Global Championship. Our players were instantly embraced by the rest of our teams in our community. We have nothing but respect and admiration for the players, content creators, and fans of Heroes. We are troubled by the way the announcement was made, namely the impolitic choice to use social media to share such a message that effectively ended the careers of hundreds of players, content creators, casters, production crews overnight and broke the hearts of countless fans. We can confirm with heavy hearts we have disbanded Method Heroes of the Storms and issued termination agreements to our team members. We will do our best to support them during their transition into the next phase of their professional journeys. Respectfully, Derry General Manager. Fuck, that is heart-wrenching to read. Next up is a message from a Heroes of the Storm broadcaster going by the name Wolf Schroeder, who had the following to say. As someone who's commentated Heroes of the Storm since 2015, I mostly really feel for the 200-plus pro players who have lost their jobs via a blog post today. I always loved casting Heroes, so it's tragic to see it go so suddenly. Thanks for all the kind messages today, friends. Others were much more blunt with their words, like former Heroes of the Storm pro player Lobber, who had this to say. Fuck you, honestly. Working 6 hard months with new, fantastic teammates for this shit. Radio silence for weeks. I sent multiple emails and all I got back was that they are working on finalizing the details. Next up is a statement from a player going by the name Maxim, who expressed his disdain towards Blizzard for the way they handle this situation, stating, quote, I feel like this is unacceptable by any company to kick so many people in the ass using a blog option, after being constantly asked, since BlizzCon way over, about plans. I wouldn't be upset if they told me that there is an option of no Heroes Global Championship, but at this point, I wasted 1 month of my life and nobody will give it back. However, I am grateful for the opportunity to play this game competitively. I give myself some time to get back in shape in League and see if I do well. If not, then I'll pursue other careers, maybe as chef. Thank you. One last quote I'd like to highlight is this one from Team Liquid player Arcaner, who is switching from Heroes of the Storm to League of Legends. Here's what he had to say. Imagine moving region, self-funded, and investing everything into Heroes of the Storm, then 1 year later, Blizzard gives the cold shoulder to Heroes Global Championship 2019. Some courtesy to players, casters, and others affiliated is expected in the form of an announcement, please. You know what this situation somewhat reminds me of? The way Telltale Games chose to handle its close down and mass firing of developers. You may recall that employees did not get a heads up and were informed that they were all being let go on the day of the company's close down, after which they were given a mere 30 minutes to vacate the premises. The lack of any kind of heads up or proper communication about the state of things was primarily what left so many people in shambles and scrambling to find new jobs, and this situation with Blizzard is not that different. While Blizzard didn't directly fire Heroes of the Storm pro players, by canceling major esports events without warning, they might as well be responsible. They might as well be the ones who pushed the button. And look, I understand that Heroes of the Storm hasn't been Blizzard's most successful endeavor. I understand that there's pressure from Activision to cut costs, and I understand that it makes sense to wind down esports events and development of an overall middlingly performing game that was probably never going to reach the heights of competitors like Dota 2 or League of Legends. But there is a right and responsible way to do that, and on that front, Blizzard failed miserably. Don't know what else to say except that I wish all esports casters and professional players who have been affected by this out-of-nowhere upbending of the tea table Good luck in transitioning to a more stable game, and fuck Activision Blizzard for apathetically screwing over those who loyally stuck with their game and basically kept it alive. Blizzard can keep touting what a difficult decision this was for them all they want, but the ones facing real difficulty in this situation are the hundreds of people who are out of jobs or who have been put in a tough financial and professional position. These are one man's thoughts and opinions anyway. I'd love to hear what your take is on this situation in the comments below. With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content and would like to support this channel directly, consider donating on Patreon. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.